At 74, Evelyn's mind was as sharp as ever. She could recall names from decades ago, keep up with the grandkids' conversations, and still finish the morning crossword in record time. People always asked her, "What's your secret?" And she'd just smile. But the truth? She worked for it. Evelyn knew that keeping the brain strong wasn't about luck. It was about movement. Science proves it. The right exercises can protect memory, boost focus, and even slow cognitive decline. And today, we'll dive into 7 simple exercises that will do just that. 1. The power of walking, your brain's best friend. Evelyn never thought much about walking. It was just something she did every day. She walked to the mailbox, around the grocery store, and sometimes through the park when the weather was nice. But she never considered it exercise, and certainly not something that could keep her brain sharp. That changed the day she found herself struggling to recall a name she had known for years. It was right on the tip of her tongue, but it just wouldn't come. She felt foggy, a little more distracted than usual, and for the first time, she wondered if she was starting to lose her mental sharpness. At her next checkup, she mentioned it to her doctor. He smiled and said something that completely changed the way she looked at walking. The best way to wake up your brain is to move your feet. He explained that walking isn't just good for the body. It's one of the most powerful brain-protecting exercises out there. Studies show that just 30 minutes of walking a day can increase blood flow to the brain, reduce the risk of dementia, and improve memory and focus. Evelyn was shocked. She had always assumed keeping her brain sharp meant doing crossword puzzles, reading, or learning something new, but the idea that something as simple as walking could strengthen her mind, that was new. Determined to test it, she made a small change. Instead of staying inside all morning, she decided to go for a short walk right after breakfast. She didn't push herself, just 15 minutes at a slow, steady pace. She walked through her neighborhood, enjoying the fresh air, noticing the flowers, waving to neighbors. The first few days, it didn't feel like much. But after 2 weeks, something incredible happened. She woke up feeling more alert, more energized. She started recalling details of conversations faster, finding words more easily, and feeling more present in her daily life. The best part, she actually looked forward to it. What started as a simple habit had become her favorite part of the day. For anyone worried about memory loss, start walking. It doesn't have to be a long, strenuous workout. Even short walks inside your home can make a difference. But if you can, step outside. Fresh air and movement together are a powerful brain booster. 2. Chair stands. Stronger legs, sharper mind. One evening, as Evelyn was watching TV, she reached for the remote and realized something strange. When she tried to stand up from her chair, it took more effort than usual. Her legs didn't feel as strong, and for a split second, she felt off balance. At first, she brushed it off. Maybe she had been sitting too long, maybe she was just tired, but as the days passed, she noticed it happening more often. Getting up from chairs, climbing stairs, even standing at the sink felt harder than it used to. She casually mentioned it to a friend one afternoon. That's when she heard something that stopped her in her tracks. Leg strength is directly linked to brain health. Evelyn was confused. What did her legs have to do with her mind? But as she started looking into it, she learned something that changed everything. Weak legs mean weaker circulation, and weaker circulation means less oxygen to the brain. And when the brain doesn't get enough oxygen, memory and focus suffer. She came across a study that found seniors with stronger legs tend to have better cognitive function, slower brain aging, and a lower risk of dementia. That's when she realized if she wanted to protect her mind, she had to protect her legs. Determined to make a change, she started doing a simple but powerful exercise, chair stands. She sat on a sturdy chair, crossed her arms over her chest, and stood up without using her hands. Then she slowly sat back down and repeated the motion 10 times. The first time she tried, she felt wobbly after just 5. Her legs weren't as strong as she thought. But instead of getting discouraged, she made a plan. She committed to 10 chair stands every morning and 10 more in the afternoon. At first, it was tough. Her legs felt tired, and she had to remind herself to do them every day. But after a few weeks, she noticed something incredible. She could stand up more easily. She felt stronger, more balanced, and more in control. And most surprising of all, she felt mentally sharper. One evening, she was watching TV again when she reached for the remote. And this time, she stood up without a second thought. No hesitation, no struggle, just strength. That's when she knew something so simple had given her confidence back, not just in her body, but in her mind. If you want to keep your brain strong, start with your legs. Try 10 chair stands a day and see the difference for yourself. 3. Heel-to-toe walking, a brain balancing act. Evelyn had always been steady on her feet, so when she started feeling a little wobbly on occasion, she brushed it off. It wasn't that she was falling, but something was different. Her steps weren't as certain, and sometimes, when she turned too quickly, she had to catch herself. She mentioned it to a friend over coffee one afternoon, expecting her to say, "That's just part of getting older." Instead, her friend leaned in and said, "You know, balance isn't just about your legs. It's about your brain." That caught Evelyn's attention. She had never thought of balance as a brain issue, but after some research, she discovered something fascinating. Balance is controlled by the cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for coordination, memory, and focus. If balance starts to decline, it's often a sign that brain function is weakening too. That realization changed everything. This wasn't just about avoiding falls. This was about keeping her mind sharp and alert. Determined to strengthen her balance and her brain, she started practicing heel-to-toe walking. She stood tall, placed one foot directly in front of the other, making sure her heel touched her toe with each step. She walked like this for 10 steps forward, then turned around and did it again. It sounded simple, but that first try was a disaster. She wobbled, lost her footing, and had to grab onto the back of a chair to steady herself. This is harder than it looks, she thought, but she didn't give up. Every morning before heading out for her walk, she practiced for just a few minutes. After a couple of weeks, something incredible happened. She noticed she could walk farther without grabbing onto anything. Her steps became smoother, more confident, even her posture improved. She felt more in control of her movements, more stable, and, most surprisingly, mentally sharper. That's when it hit her. Balance and brain power go hand in hand. If she could improve her stability with a few simple steps each morning, she could protect her mind as well. If you ever feel a little unsteady, don't wait for it to get worse. Try heel-to-toe walking every day for just a few minutes. It may seem small, but your brain will thank you for it. 4. Hand coordination drills, activating both sides of the brain. Evelyn's grandson loved playing games, and one day, he asked her to try a clapping game with him. She laughed, remembering how she used to do those games as a child. But when she tried, her hands didn't move as quickly as she expected. She fumbled the rhythm, missed a few beats, and felt strangely frustrated. It wasn't that her hands weren't working, it was that her brain wasn't keeping up. Later that evening, she thought about it more. When was the last time I really worked on hand coordination? She couldn't remember. And that's when she realized if she wanted to keep her reflexes sharp, she had to start practicing. She started researching and discovered something fascinating. Hand-side coordination exercises activate both hemispheres of the brain, strengthening the connections between them. The more these connections are used, the sharper the brain remains. Determined to improve, she started with simple drills every morning. She sat at her kitchen table and tapped her fingers together, moving from her index finger to her pinky, then back again. At first, it felt awkward, Her fingers moved more slowly than she remembered, but within days she noticed she was getting faster. She added in clapping exercises. First, she clapped slowly, then fast, then in different rhythms. She challenged herself by switching speeds, alternating hands, and even trying patterns from memory. It felt like a game, but she knew she was giving her brain an incredible workout. Then she tried something more challenging, juggling two small balls. It wasn't about being perfect, just about forcing her brain to react quickly and coordinate movements. It was tough, but within weeks, she noticed something surprising. Her reflexes improved, her focus sharpened. She felt more mentally engaged throughout the day. Even in conversation, she noticed her thoughts flowed more easily, her recall was quicker, and she felt sharper than she had in years. She realized that hand coordination exercises weren't just about dexterity. They were about training the brain to think faster, process information smoothly, and stay sharp. Now, every morning, she does her hand drills for just 5 minutes. It's a small habit, but she knows it's helping her stay mentally strong. If you want to protect your brain, start moving your hands. Whether it's finger tapping, clapping, or playing a game with a grandchild, these simple exercises can keep your brain young and responsive. 5. Gentle neck stretches. Boosting oxygen to the brain. Evelyn always carried tension in her neck and shoulders, but she never thought it could be affecting her mind. Then she started experiencing more frequent headaches, brain fog, and slower thinking. She assumed it was just aging, until a friend casually mentioned that tight neck muscles could reduce blood flow to the brain. That caught Evelyn's attention. She realized that when she sat for long periods, especially when reading or watching TV, her neck felt stiff, her shoulders tense, and her head heavy. It made sense. Poor circulation to the brain meant slower thinking and lower energy. Determined to improve, she began doing simple neck stretches every morning. She slowly tilted her head side to side, rolled her shoulders back, and turned her head left and right. The first few times she felt tightness releasing, and within a few days something changed. She felt more awake, her thoughts clearer, and even her headaches became less frequent. After a couple of weeks, Evelyn realized how a small habit had made a big impact. She no longer felt like she was waking up sluggish. Her mind felt sharper from the moment she got out of bed. If you often feel mentally foggy or stiff in the morning, try adding a few gentle neck stretches to your routine. Just a couple of minutes could be the key to a clearer, more focused mind. Deep breathing, calming the mind, strengthening the brain. For years, Evelyn never thought about how she was breathing. It was automatic, something she never had to work at. But when she read that deep breathing increases oxygen flow to the brain, reduces stress, and sharpens focus, she decided to try a simple exercise. Sitting comfortably, she placed a hand on her belly and inhaled deeply through her nose for 4 seconds, held the breath for another 4 seconds, and exhaled slowly through her mouth for 6. At first, it felt awkward. She had been breathing too shallowly for years, but within minutes, she felt calmer, more focused, and more present. After just a week of daily deep breathing, she noticed less stress, fewer moments of mental fog, and even better sleep. She was shocked by how something so simple had such a powerful effect on her brain. She also noticed that her anxiety levels dropped, and she could focus on conversations without her mind wandering. Now, whenever she feels scatterbrained or overwhelmed, she takes a moment to breathe deeply. Just a few minutes of mindful breathing resets her brain and restores clarity. If you've been feeling mentally drained or distracted, pause and take 5 deep breaths. It's an easy, natural way to recharge your brain and bring instant clarity. 6. Deep breathing, calming the mind, strengthening the brain. For years, Evelyn never thought about how she was breathing. It was automatic, something she never had to work at. But when she read that deep breathing increases oxygen flow to the brain, reduces stress, and sharpens focus, she decided to try a simple exercise. Sitting comfortably, she placed a hand on her belly and inhaled deeply through her nose for 4 seconds, held the breath for another 4 seconds, and exhaled slowly through her mouth for 6. At first, it felt awkward. She had been breathing too shallowly for years. But within minutes, she felt calmer, more focused, and more present. After just a week of daily deep breathing, she noticed less stress, fewer moments of mental fog, and even better sleep. She was shocked by how something so simple had such a powerful effect on her brain. She also noticed that her anxiety levels dropped, and she could focus on conversations without her mind wandering. Now, whenever she feels scatterbrained or overwhelmed, she takes a moment to breathe deeply. Just a few minutes of mindful breathing resets her brain and restores clarity. If you've been feeling mentally drained or distracted, pause and take 5 deep breaths. It's an easy, natural way to recharge your brain and bring instant clarity. 7. Brain boosting Tai Chi, meditation in motion. Evelyn always admired people practicing Tai Chi in the park, moving gracefully and deliberately, but she never considered trying it herself until one morning she woke up feeling foggy, disconnected, and unsteady on her feet. She remembered how calm and balanced those Tai Chi practitioners looked and decided to give it a try. She followed a simple 5-minute routine, moving her arms in slow, controlled circles and shifting her weight gently. She expected it to feel awkward, but instead she felt more present, more centered, and more in tune with her movements. The next day, she did it again, and soon 5 minutes turned into 10. Within weeks, she noticed something incredible: less brain fog, improved balance, and even sharper memory. She even started feeling more confident when walking, standing, and moving around the house. Tai Chi is more than just exercise, it's meditation in motion. Studies show that practicing it regularly strengthens brain connections, improves focus, and reduces stress. Unlike strenuous workouts, it energizes rather than exhausts, making it perfect for brain health. Evelyn also found that Tai Chi helped her sleep better. The slow, flowing movements calmed her mind, reducing tension before bedtime. And unlike traditional workouts that left her feeling tired, Tai Chi gave her a sense of peaceful energy. If you've never tried it before, start small. Even just a few minutes of slow, mindful movement can bring clarity, coordination, and a deep sense of calm. Your mind and body will thank you. Evelyn discovered that protecting her brain wasn't about luck, it was about action. And now, so can you. These 7 simple exercises can sharpen your focus, strengthen memory, and keep your mind clear for years to come. Start small, stay consistent, and feel the difference. Your future self will thank you. Now, go move that brain and embrace a sharper, stronger you.